Hi, so good day everyone, and now I'm going to teach about how a deal can be done between a supplier as being an intermediary, or it's like a trader or a merchant or a broker, without investing any money, and but just by having a business license with an export-import license, and how you can do this deal being anywhere in the world. It is not like required to be in a place of buyer's place, or like required to be in place of the seller's place. You can be in anywhere in the world, and you can complete a deal uh, between a buyer and a seller, and you can also get your own funds, like your own commission, being in somewhere in the world. It does not have to be like let us say example, the buyer is in America, okay, the seller is in example India, and you are in, let us say, Europe, okay. So how this deal is going to happen? Let us say there are many offers on the internet which are fake and which are genuine. So mostly you'll find the fake offers, but for the genuine ones, you should need to know which websites and how you can find the genuine offers, how you can find the genuine suppliers, how you can find the genuine buyers. So you have to learn for that. Now I will just go for like being anywhere in the world. It's like let us say doesn't matter where you are, where the supplier and the end buyer is. But if you have, if the supplier is a local, or as a buyer is a local to you, and supplier, if the buyer is local to you and the supplier is somewhere else, and if the supplier is local to you and the buyer is somewhere else, or it's like even both are local but they do not know each other, and you are also local, then it is also good. So let me explain you how you can do this deal with very less of hard work. Like hard work is of course important, but how you can complete the deal without any much thing, because you are only the one in the middle, and you don't have to rely on anybody else apart from the supplier and the buyer, of course if they are genuine or not. The secondary thing is like you do not have any other agents in this thing. So how you are going to close this deal, let me explain you. Okay, now let us say I'll put this one as okay. Let us see that now you are here, okay, and here is let us say he is the supplier and he is the buyer, okay. He is the supplier of products, he is the buyer of the products. And you are just a trader. Let us say like you are trying to buy and sell. That can also be done, but in that thing, if you are a trader, if you are buying and selling, you will have to invest your own money. That can also be done, but you will have, in this scenario, if you are a trader and you are investing your own money, you will have to have your own warehouse. You will have to have your own warehouse, okay, because when you buy from the supplier, let us say the buyer is not ready yet, but you have the product, then you have to have a warehouse where you can store the supplier's products, right? So this is the one in which you are investing your own money. Here the buyer is there. Once he say he needs this thing, and we have a hold of this thing, and the market is requiring this thing. Let us say in the pandemic there were many orders for the face mask, but at that time the buyers are everywhere, but the suppliers are somewhere in the country, like somewhere in the country and some other countries like that. So people, what they did is they bought the mask and they kept it in their warehouse. Okay, So whenever there is a demand from the buyer, they used to give it directly from here, from the warehouse. So there is a large amount of quantity of mask they have bought and kept in their own warehouses, and they sold it because they are traders. They have the license to do that. Now, let us say you are not just a trader, but trader is nothing but, you know the example, you know the meaning of the trader. Trader is nothing but he buys from the supplier or a manufacturer, and he trades and he sells on another price to the buyers and buyers. Okay, so let us say you are a trader and you are not investing any money, or you are a broker, as I have told in my previous examples, but I still want to say this thing because people get confused. What is a broker, what is a trader, what is a merchant, what is a buyer, what is a seller, what is an agent. All these are the same thing, but in the language of import and export, it is basically known as a merchant. And another form of calling an agent is a buyer, intermediary buyer, or intermediary seller, or a buyer or a seller, or an intermediary. And the agent is many kinds of agents. Agent is a primary agent. Agent can be a mandate. Primary agent is nothing but if you are the main person between the buyer and seller. So this is the primary agent. So because when there is another agent, you are the primary agent. The another agent, like in previous example, like there is Mr. B, Mr. X. So Mr. B and Mr. X, they are not the primary agents, but you are the primary agent for the buyer. For the supplier, you are not the primary agent. Later you have become after negotiating with Mr. B and Mr. X in the previous scenario. Now in this thing, so trader, broker, merchant, buyer or seller, intermediary, primary agent. Primary agent is nothing but another way it is called PIA. PIA. That is nothing but primary intermediary agent. Okay. 7. Agent. Okay. So these are the names. Basically, the middlemen are called. In import-export language, it is called like merchant, basically, or buyer or seller, intermediary, primary agent. Last thing, if you are directly connected to a buyer or a seller, directly connected, and they believe on you and you are working primarily for them, then you are called a mandate. Mandate of buyer, mandate to seller, like that. Now I have given you this thing. So here we will see what is the scenario when you are a single person and how the deal can be closed in a safe way. Supplier is there, buyer is there. Let us say you are in India, okay, and supplier is in India. Buyer is in India. And you are in India. Let us say supplier is in Mumbai. You are in Hyderabad. Hyderabad is nothing but city, but it is Telangana. Okay, and this guy in Mumbai, supplier, is nothing but Maharashtra. Okay, and buyer is in Delhi, New Delhi. So he is nothing but he is in Delhi. Okay, now let us say the buyer doesn't know supplier. But of course it is one country, but it is a big country. Okay, so it is not that in same city people don't know each other, buyer and supplier also. That happens in most cases. So this is a country. So it might, so this is the deal can happen, not a problem. Let us say the buyer of the product is in New Delhi and there is a supplier, and the buyer is let us say, what example we can give, let us say let us say the buyer is requiring 100 tons of sugar, and he is looking for this sugar worldwide. And also particularly India also. Not a problem for this guy, for this company to also get referrals or like leads from India who can provide them this 100 tons of sugar as per the quality requirement, whatever Brazil sugar or Indian sugar, or it's like ICMSA 45 Brazil or India in this scenario. So the requirement is this thing, and they have not given any, they have given the offer but not yet anything. So you saw this offer on internet, or it's like maybe you have come through requirement via genuine place, like through the membership website, and this buyer is a old member of the membership website, and he is a paying member, and he is verifiable, and he has a contact number, he has a business domain, and he has a if you have done any background check on this thing, because New Delhi and Delhi is not far away, is not any other country. You can send some friends, or it's like you can contact any inspection agency, you can check the website of the Indian embassy, and you can background check of this domain name, how long it is like how old it is. You can check, cross check with his contact number via Google search. Apart from direct search with his contact number, you can, so there are many things that can be done in the background search without taking any help from third party. By yourself, if you know some technical things like Google search and all these things, you can check for the contact number, the strength of this thing, and everything. You can pay somebody to make a background check. As like if you have any friends in this New Delhi or Delhi area, you can ask your friend, and your friend can ask somebody else, and they can visit. They can see if this bar is genuine or not. So all these are free of cost. You can do it by yourself. But if you are paying some third party inspection agency, that can also be done. You can find a third party inspection agency on a very less cost, because you are a local over here, and you can pay somebody, and they will do the background check, and they will let you know if it is genuine or not. That will take maybe 1 or 2 days or 3 days time. Now here you have got this thing based on the offer you have seen, and you have done this. Once you rely, you have done this research. Also, apart from that, once you see this thing, you can contact them directly on their phone, and you can message them, you can become friends with them, you can know them, you can contact about the lead, you can know about the offer, and you can know how long this company is. You can check the company CR, company registration number as per the records of the Indian government, because it is Indian company. So like this you can check, make a background check. Once you can contact them and they are friendly with you, they have responded in a proper way, and you know the deal can be happen, then you take this thing and you ask them that you are able to provide this thing. So this is the way you can communicate. So you have communicated, let's say you have communicated with these people via phone plus email, plus you have also done BG, like background check via any of your friends, or if you want to be more genuine and you can put up some cost from your side, maybe let us say you have spent like 1,000 or 2,000 Indian rupees, and if you are able to do something that is not a big deal, you can do some background check. So people can visit, the background inspection agency can visit, and they can know about this company, its warehouse, and if it is genuine or not. So instead of losing a big thing, they can do a background check and you can come to know. So that is the thing. Let us say you have done all these 3 things. Even to know once the deal is going to be done, it is fine. Yeah, once you come to know that this is okay company, you can travel from Telangana to Delhi. It will take around only by flight, or it's like 1 day travel through train or a bus, probably train, because it is like 20-hour journey. So that is not a big deal, but you come to know what is the world and how is the business happening, and you will be you can see things by yourself if it is a local thing. So let us say, because this is not a even if it is an international scenario, you have to do these things. Even if this company is somewhere else in the world, you can do these things. Okay, you have to do these things once before you start to do any deal monetarily. So these things. Also, you can travel. Many people, even for international thing, if the order is from nearby like China or Singapore, Thailand, Hong Kong, or any part of Asia, or which is like if the ticket is very less, they try to stamp the visa, and if the deal is good, they try to travel and they try to check with these things so they can make a good relation with these buyers anywhere in the world, and they try to negotiate for that deal, and they try to gain trust from these companies and the buyers, and they try to make a relation for now and for future. Like that is the way it happens. So this is the thing. You are an intermediary and you are trying to make a deal with this buyer. So you got to know about this thing. You have made some couple of emails. Now it is now. So now, because you are in, and the supplier, the buyer has told that the supplier can also be from India, and the requirement is this thing, and the buyer has this thing. So now you try to search for the supplier from India and also from other places in the world, any other country. Any other country means, like say, the sugar of Brazil is famous. You have some kind of factory, or like a factory checkup, and you can also get a list of the factories which manufacture sugar, which do from Brazil and other worldwide countries which are safer countries, and you come to know about these countries and these companies from the embassy of that country. Okay, supposedly if you are going to get something about the supplier data, anything like that, you must visit directly the embassy of that country, and you can get to know about that manufacturer if you find the list in that embassy website about the list of providers of sugar of that quality. So embassy list will not be any fake thing. So once you find that thing, you can rely on that one, and once you rely on that one, you can make a connection with this supplier. Let it be in India, or let it be in any other country like Brazil, somewhere, or any country in the world. So the embassy list will not be that one. Even if you have any doubt like that, you can go to the embassy directly physically, or you can make an email to the embassy, or the ministry. You can ask them that this is the thing you want to do, and this is your license number, and you are a trader, you are an agent, and people will be happy that, because if you are contacting some exporter from other countries will help you out, because the thing is, like, if you are purchasing something from even from India, or even if you are purchasing something from other country, that is nothing but that GDP is going to be increased for that country in that manner. So your deal can be 100 tons or 1 lakh tons or 1,000 tons, it doesn't matter. But what matters is the currency is going to arrive in their country, so the GDP will increase. So the embassy and everything, these guys will try to improve their GDP, and they will try to support you. They will try to give you the required verification and things, if it is right or wrong or fake or what. So you can believe the embassy thing. So they will not fake you, and they will not. So you can contact, once you find the requirement, you can check the supplier data of India, and you can, once you know the suppliers are here, and even if the supplier is in some other country, let us say the supplier is not in Mumbai, you are not able to find the supplier in the Mumbai. So you check for Brazil, in another country, let us say example Brazil. Okay. Maybe the buyer also knows about Brazil, buyer also knows about the Brazilian sugar, and he has himself given that and in Brazil sugar in his offer. But he is not going to find it out from who is selling Brazil sugar. If he has time, if he has the old suppliers who are going, or if he is a new buyer, then he doesn't know about them. Maybe he wants somebody to help him out get the deal done in a proper way. So he has given the advertisement like in it's a Brazil sugar, Brazilian sugar, and he will. So you have contacted him and you have promised him that okay, you are going to try it because you are in this business from a couple of years or like that. You know about this thing and you have a good market and you have suppliers. You know about something like that. You will. You will be real with that one, or it's like you will fake it until you make it, whatever that is. So that is the thing. So, but you have to be truthful and you have to make your trust if you want to survive in this business. If you are not going to fail in the trust in this business for these parties, then this is even not a one-time deal for you. The next time they will not approach you, or it's like if you fake, then you have to find everybody else, like you will have to leave the business. So import-export business is nothing but people in this business who can trust, who are able to work hard, everything only they can sustain in this business for a long period of time. Or else and even if they try hard in a lifelong time, something like that, they might get a very good deal later on in the stage. So this is the business for working hard and working smart. So this is let us say you have contracted with the Brazilian embassy and you have performed some suppliers in Brazil, and you have later on contacted in the Brazilian embassy and you have asked Brazilian embassy about these people. Okay, so they will reply in the proper way if they are if this company is still working or not. I mean, like if this supplier is in a correct stage or not, if you can do business with them or not. At least they will reply if the company is existing and how long it's been existing and if it has a good number. Also, you can find some famous suppliers in the embassy from the list of suppliers from the embassy of any particular country when you contact them. So at least they will reply back, or else like you can just browse their website and you can contact somebody who can help you out. Because as I said, like every country wants to increase their GDP, they want to run their GDP, and nowadays it is very tough to sustain a market in any kind of business. So, but import-export business is the same way, but any business you have to do some kind of work hard. Now, this is the general thing what I have told you. Let us, as you said, like in New Delhi there is a buyer and you are also based in India, Hyderabad, Telangana, and as you said, like the supplier is in Mumbai. Let us say you have found some suppliers, but the sugar is not the same thing as per the requirement of the Delhi buyer. So you have come across one Brazilian company in Brazil which is able to supply. What you will do now is the next thing. Remember how you have checked for this buyer. In the same way, you will have to do a background check for the supplier. Now, supplier is in Brazil, sugar supplier, buyer is in Delhi, buyer sugar, 100 tons, Delhi. Now we haven't spoken about the terms. The buyer in the Delhi, he wants the sugar. So probably if a deal is going to be done and you don't want to invest any money and upfront, buyer and seller also like that. They don't want to waste their time in money transactions, all these things like that. So they want to rely on a good top ranking banks in the world. So let us say the buyer has given the advertisement based on LC. It's like if you see apart from LC, there is any other kind of deal like Western Union, for example. Most of the time, Western Union is not, because if it is a large amount of money, Western Union they will not give. There is some like a telegraphic transfer like that, all these things. So basically, for you trying to be safe in the safe practice, in the safe procedure. Never do for TT all these things. Go for a LC through the bank. So if the buyer has not even given for LC, let us say he has given for telegraphic transfer. So you must contact when you are wanting to do business. You should negotiate with the people. So you ask to the buyer and ask him that, sir, I can provide you this deal, but can we do this thing on LC, letter of credit, and that too one-time transferable? Because you are the local here and there in India, in Telangana. Example, you are not going to run away. Even if the buyer is in some other country, you can negotiate, you can talk. There is nothing you are going to lose if you are just going to talk. Okay, there is nothing to lose. So you contact him, you negotiate him for LC, based on LC, one-time transferable, and you ask them that, sir, you just give me some time, 1 week or 10 days time, I will find you a supplier which is as per your requirement, and I will provide you that kind of sugar which you need as per Brazilian sugar, and I have the time and I have the contacts like that. You can tell them. So in this scenario, as you have already done this background check for this buyer and you know the things are going to work out, you are now going to do the background check for the Brazilian sugar supplier. Let us say you have contacted the embassy and you have also come in contact with the Brazilian sugar supplier. You have also dealt with him in the same way like these people, in the same way like you have done with this company, with this buyer. So let us say everything is good now. You negotiate with the supplier in the same way as you negotiate with the supplier, with the buyer. You ask the supplier that what is the cost of per ton, what is the cost if you are taking 100 ton. For 1 ton, they will ask you how much you need. You ask them this is what is the requirement, and you are going to deal only because, and you straight away tell them that you are a buyer's agent, or you can tell them directly that you are a middleman, and you can also try to exchange your you can also try to make them trust you by asking them that you have a company registration number, you have an import-export license, you know the knowledge of this thing, you can make the deal happen, you can like in this thing. So once you negotiate with the supplier, you ask them the sample of the required quality, sample, quality, packing, and price and duration. All these things you can negotiate with the supplier. But once you have negotiated, you can ask that about this thing. Once the supplier has agreed and they say that okay, this is the cost. So let us say the cost is like 1 ton is coming to 1 ton sugar is coming to, let us say per kg means like 100. So 1 ton is coming to $1 lakh. 1 lakh Indian rupees. So 1 ton is coming to 1 lakh Indian rupees. So 100 tons will come to this much. This much INR. That is nothing but 1 lakh, 100 lakh. That is nothing but 1 crore. 1 crore INR rupees. So now, once you have this thing, and the supplier has provided you sample. Once you receive the sample and you negotiate the terms with the supplier, you now show this sample to buyer. Once the supplier sends you the sample to your country, to your address, you receive the sample. Let us say this is the sample, okay, sample, and it has the address of Brazil, company name, okay. Now what you do is, after you receive this sample to your address, to your place, you take this sample and you remove this cover, you put this sample with your company name. Okay, you can put this sample, remove this cover and take out the sugar, put it in your company name and seal it. Okay, once you seal it, either you put your company name or like you just put that sugar in a plain plastic bag or whatever, and you seal it properly, and then you provide this sample to the buyer. The buyer will have a look of the sample and he will decide if he wants this sample, if the sample is okay. So for the best thing, you take 2 to 3 samples from the Brazilian company. So one kind of sugar they can see 2 to 3 samples, different, whichever is good, they will accept it as per their conditions and their requirement. So once you provide the sample, negotiate with the buyer. Now the buyer will ask what is the ton per sugar, what is the price per ton per sugar, and what is the price per 100 tons, how much you are going to negotiate, everything like that. Now here is the supplier, here you are here is the buyer. You have already given the sample, okay, sample is received by the buyer. Now the buyer has to give some kind of answer. Buyer will say either he has rejected because he has given only one sample. Let us say he has given 2 or 3 samples. Then he will decide, he will have a choice and he will decide whichever sample is good, and of course maybe there can be a good trade. The trade can happen. So try to provide 2 to 3 samples instead of just one sample. And once the supplier, you receive this one, you have given the sample and the sample has been received, and the buyer says okay, now the thing comes for negotiation for the price. Okay, so the requirement is 100 tons. The price for 100 tons from the supplier side is 1 crore INR rupees. Of course, the supplier has given this price in a Brazilian dollar, Brazilian dollar, but you have converted the price for the 100 tons to each 1 lakh to each ton, and you have converted that into 100 tons. So it is coming in Indian rupees. You have converted, so it is coming 1 crore. So and here now you have to give the price for this thing. Let us say for the price of 1 ton was 1 lakh INR. 1 ton. Okay, there is nothing but 1000 kgs. So 1 lakh INR for 1 ton. Now you give the price for 1 lakh 10,000. Okay, 1 lakh 10,000 INR rupees for 1 ton. Okay, so 1 lakh 10,000 INR rupees for 1 ton, and you believe the supplier is good. The sample is okay. Now the deal can happen most probably because there is nothing that going to lose. You have done the background check for the supplier, you have done the background check for the buyer, you are satisfied, and the embassy has given replies for the supplier. You have checked for the background check with this buyer, you have physically met him, or it's like you have done a very good background check for the buyer, and you know his capability. If he is going to be able to pay for this 1 crore CR, 1 crore Indian rupees. I mean, like not 1 crore, more than 1 crore, including your commission, which he is not going to know about it. So now, even if he knows, he will never know. So now, this is the he will never know, the buyer will never know until you do not say, or like if the bank doesn't leak. A bank doesn't leak because they don't want to lose anything. So that just slipped from my mouth, and this is not anything like that. So this is the thing. Now sample was okay, everything was okay. Now the deal is going on for this thing. So after negotiation, they have they say 1 lakh for this one, and your price is 1,10,000. It should be written here, not here. 1 lakh for 1 ton. This is for 100 ton. 1 lakh. 1,10,000, right? INR for 1 ton. This is your price. So what will happen now is, when it is 1,10,000 for this one, now when you change it to 100 tons, calculate for 100 tons, now it comes to 1 crore 10 lakhs. That means 10 lakhs is the profit for this 100 tons sugar. So 10 lakhs profit for 100 tons sugar. How many 100 tons is like about 5 containers for 20 tons each. Now you give the price for 100 tons is 1 crore 10 lakhs. 1 crore 10 lakhs INR rupees. Let us say the buyer says, okay, instead of 1 lakh 10 crores, try to give me some kind of discount, or it's like provide me a bank guarantee, or it's like a performance guarantee or performance bond, anything like that. So instead of giving him performance bond on this whole 1,10,000, 1 crore 10 lakh rupees, what you can negotiate with the buyer is, instead of giving any kind of these guarantees and performance bonds, all these things, you try to negotiate with the buyer that, sir, performance bond, let us say we are friends and like that, like this, you tell him that I'll try to provide you a discount. Do not put me in anything like this, and for the performance bond or performance guarantee, you are going to get a deal, and let us make it a very nice thing. And I'll try to make a discount with you. I will negotiate with the supplier. You tell him like that. Once then you try to decide what you are going to do, and then you get back to the supplier, to the buyer. You try to negotiate here. If the buyer will ask that he needs a performance guarantee, that will be a problem. You will also have to make a performance guarantee. You will have to ask for this supplier, because you are the buyer for the supplier. Once he asks any performance bond, you will have to ask also to your supplier to make performance bond, because if you fail, then if the deal fails, then you are must to pay the performance bond money 2% to the buyer, if in case an default is going to be done, if the fault is your side or supplier side. So never indulge in the business in a performance bond and performance guarantee, all these kind of things. Try to negotiate with the buyer that to make the LC based on a discounted amount, and that discounted amount is going to be, let us say, instead of 1,10,000 rupees per ton, you try to negotiate him that, sir, no need for performance bond, I will try to provide you a discount, and let us make, you come back to him next day or another day and tell him that I will try to give you 1,08,000, 1 lakh 1 crore 8 lakhs. So INR. In this thing, what happens means, in this deal, the buyer is satisfied because he is saving 2 lakh rupees. 2 lakhs of Indian rupees this buyer is saving based on the negotiation you have done. And now is the time that you also, before negotiating here, you try to negotiate here. Because if you don't negotiate and negotiate directly there, maybe that is possible. But if here there is no chance to negotiate, you negotiate only with the buyer. And okay, so here is the thing. Now how you are going to make the profit? The buyer's bank and your bank and the supplier bank will now come into play. Okay, so let us say, so who is going to make the first LC? The first LC will be made by the buyer. Buyer will approach his bank which bank is that one? Buyer will approach his bank. Let us say buyer has a bank account in Citibank, and buyer is from New Delhi, right? So Citibank, New Delhi, and what he will do is, because you have already negotiated the terms, for the LC, for the thing, for the contract, for the duration. So this all negotiation has been done basically electronically, and you are not just as a mediator. See, when you are a buyer for the supplier, you are also a supplier for the buyer. Okay, you are also a supplier for the buyer. So when you are negotiating with the buyer, you have to negotiate on the terms of the condition of the LC also. Okay, so once the buyer makes the LC on you, in return you make the LC for the supplier. How this is going to be done? Basically, electronically, as I was telling you before, the draft creation of the contract and as per the condition of the LC, that draft is finalized on a final contract, and that final contract you are going to sign and produce it to the buyer. The buyer will return his confirmation, and this is in this way. Once you give the draft contract, after that the buyer is agreed. You then, after it is agreed, you have all these sample electronic copies on your email, everything, because everything is going on the electronic format nowadays. It is not the 1947 or 1980 area or year 1999 or 2000 where everything is going to be telegram or everything. Now everything is fax or telegram or everything. Now everything is electronic, and you have the email facility, so you do business in that way. So once you have provided the draft contract, the buyer has finalized, okay, I am ready to do the business, then you make the final contract based with your signature or electronic signature, whatever, and you produce that document to the buyer. The buyer, based on that one and the contract condition, based on the LC terms and everything, which you both have negotiated in, the trader, you have negotiated with the buyer. On the other side, how it happens means, here, have a look. When you are discussing with the buyer in an electronic format, like business email, and you have given draft copy of the contract, everything. Buyer has returned by email confirmation, and he has agreed for the quotation, everything. Now everything is finalized, because all these things which you have negotiated are basically can be done physically and as per for the verbal thing, for the verbal for the verbal negotiation. Anyhow, you will pick up the phone and you will make a call. But basically, for the thing, for any electronic or like physical, you will have to do things on the paper. Okay, so electronic invoicing and electronic signature, everything will be done by email. So you will make the email and you will send it to here. Buyer will be replying you. Once, what will happen is, You are second. The supplier is the one person. First, he is the third person, or else like you can say as first. Why I am telling this is like, see, here if you are negotiating with the buyer without initiating the contract with the supplier, then you are in the fault, because everything has a date on your email, your electronic signature, everything you are making this thing. So before negotiating with the buyer, you at least 1 week or 10 days prior or 1 week prior, you start negotiating with the supplier, because you already have negotiated with the supplier regarding the price, everything for 100 tons and 1 ton, everything. Later on only you have come to here and you have negotiated with this guy, with the supplier. But here you have to negotiate for the terms and conditions, for the LC, for the contract, for the draft invoice. Once they give their format and they provide this thing to you, you confirm, because you are the buyer for these people. So you confirm with them. On the side, you confirm with him. So he will confirm you, you will confirm him. He will contact you, you will contact him. He will contact you, you will contact him. So this is the way this tricycle goes on. So this is the thing. When you are an intermediary, you will have to deal with both these guys in this way. He will provide you the draft invoice, draft of the contract, and you will provide the same copy based on your letterhead, based on your company name, removing his company name. You will keep your company name, and you will provide this copy to this buyer. This buyer will reply to you, and in this same way what he has replied, you have to remove his and you place your in this you make your own copy as per his requirement, and you make your own copy as per his requirement, and you with your letterhead, you with your company name, you reply to this supplier. Now, and while doing this thing, you will have to see and look into the picture of the 100 tons, 1 ton, what is the price, and you will have to edit the price and keep your price. Here you have to edit your price and give the actual price, what the end buyer is going to get. So this is the thing, how the deal happens. So once the buyer is okay with this one, seller is okay with this one, now the buyer will approach his bank once thing is done. So once the buyer will approach his bank, because you have already negotiated with the buyer to make the LC one-time transferable. One-time transferable is nothing but once you get the LC, on your name, you will transfer that LC to the supplier name. So here, one-time transferable documented letter of credit. Here, LC is made, Citibank. LC is made on your name, on your company, account number, and your name, and that is one-time transferable. Documentary letter of credit. So while this is made, what you will do now is, once he made this to your name, and let us say you have these business systems, everything, and that must have to happen. And what you will do is, once you receive, once he made this LC, you will go to your bank, and once they make this LC, this issuing bank will courier this LC to your bank. Let us say your bank in India is ICICI Bank in Telangana. Because you stay in Telangana, let us say you have a bank account in Telangana in ICICI Bank, and that is your business bank account in this bank related to your import-export company, and you have the import-export license, and this is the way it goes. Issuing bank will this one, and here is the accepting bank. Okay, or else we can also say, I guess, maybe like advising bank. But let us say this is the accepting bank, because you are the supplier to him. So nothing but it can be said that it is an accepting bank. So this is the issuing bank, Citibank. This is the accepting bank. Both are in India only, but this is in New Delhi. You are in Telangana. Okay. Once you receive this one, the bank receives this one. The bank will contact you, and by the way, this guy, the buyer, will inform you, okay, I have made the LC, I have made this one. Once he makes the LC from the bank, he will inform you by phone or WhatsApp or whatever, electronic media, or like by call. And apart from that, the bank will also inform you, and you will know that what is happening and what is going on. You will reach the bank, and you will see the LC. The LC is basically made for the actual thing. What is that? Here, you have had negotiated for 1 crore 8 lakhs instead of 1 crore 10 lakhs. So the LC will be made for 1 crore 8 lakhs. So the issuing bank will make LC for 1 crore 8 lakhs INR on your account, and this will be activated once you provide the delivery documents to this buyer. Delivery documents to this buyer. How you will provide the delivery documents to this buyer? That is going to be coming the next one. Now, after I explain this one, this will be activated to deposit, to collect this credit. It will be activated once you have provided the delivery. Nothing but delivery documents, because banks is only in the delivery documents. So here is ICICI Bank. You have received this one. Now what you have to do is, once you receive this 1 lakh, 1 crore 8 lakhs, this one, what you will do is, you will make another LC. Okay. How? Remember, the supplier is in Brazil, though, and let us say the supplier's bank is Wells Fargo in Brazil. Okay. So supplier bank. Supplier. This is the supplier bank. Is Brazil. Is in Brazil, and that is Wells Fargo. That is Wells Fargo. So you will make this remaining amount. So once you receive this one, you will make another LC. That is nothing but this was the first LC. Okay. So how you will make the another LC? Let us say you are do not have this much amount in your account. Okay. I mean, like this amount LC was not made, and you are first time doing any kind of transaction. Okay. Let us say like this is your new company, but you have a good experience, and you know the banking people, and you do not have any kind of bad remark, and you are trying very hard to do some kind of deal. Now the thing is, like, this is 1 crore 8 lakh rupees, and this LC is verifiable. This LC is from very good bank, Citibank, because that is not going to give any kind of wrong LC, and there is a big bank. So one of the world's top banking banks. So that is 1 crore 8 lakh rupees LC is going to be deposited, has been given to you and couriered to you, and the bank is also in contact with each other via SWIFT, which is also another form of, say, like the Society of World of Interfinancial Transactions or language. There is a kind of banking language they exchange with each other. Once you receive this 1 crore 8 lakhs INR LC, what you will do is you will make another LC. How you will make another LC? Basically, as I told, like, you do not have any kind of money. So based on this LC, what you have received, the bank will see this LC. Which bank? The ICICI bank will see the LC. The ICICI bank will see the LC and will say like, okay, this LC, they will read the contents of the LC, and the bank is always, remember, the bank is only interested in the documents. It is not interested in what you are going to sell, any trash or anything to other country or any place, anything like that. But banks will see the thing. But the inspection agency, of course, it will see if you are selling the right thing or you are sending the trash. Okay, so remember my thing. It is not playing any games like that. That was happened like a long time ago, maybe 20 years back, something like that. People try to play and they take money. Others, sincere people and others, they try to take away money and they run away like that. So don't try to be doing things like that. So this is 1 crore 8 lakh rupees Indian rupees money, and you will receive in your LC in your bank. Once the bank sees and verifies this one, and they say okay. So now what you have to do is like you will need to make the supplier the LC for the remaining part. So how much you have negotiated for the supplier? You have negotiated for the supplier for 1 lakh rupees INR for 1 ton. So basically you have had negotiated with the supplier in a US in the dollar or the Brazilian currency, but when converted it is like 1 lakh. So based on that one you have calculated to put 8,000 per ton. Now you will make the LC from this bank to Wells Fargo. How you are going to do that? ICICI Bank, and you will ask the bank manager, and they of course know that because you are doing this business. They will know that there is another LC is pending to be issued to the accepting bank, which is another accepting bank, and here you are the issuing bank. Here it was the issuing bank from the buyer and you are the accepting bank. Now when you issue it, so you are the issuing bank and the supplier's bank is the accepting bank, and this is the last bank. Okay, there can be more banks depending on how much funds they have and how they do the transaction, but this is the one which you are going to do dealing with directly, which your bank will be going to deal with directly. So now you issue the LC for 1 crore. 1 crore is nothing but 100 lakhs INR. So whatever the currency is, the bank will take care of that one. So depending on that one, you will make the LC depending on 1 crore, which is converted into the Brazilian dollar. It will be in that thing, and it will be shown up in Brazilian dollar in the LC for the Brazilian supplier. So the LC will be made, and the LC will be sent to the via courier to the Wells Fargo bank and that branch address, whichever thing the supplier has given you from the Brazil. So depending on that one, the thing will go directly. So the Wells Fargo is the top ranking world bank. So you do not have to worry about that, because for the top banks only the business can be done in a fair manner. Basically also the suppliers and the end buyers, people and the intermediaries from the good business background and things like that, these deals are done. This is a good thing to always use top world banks which are in the list of 100 banks like that. Then you will be safe. Via courier to the Wells Fargo. Once the Wells Fargo receives this LC from ICICI Bank, they will inform the supplier that hey, you have got an LC, so by the way, when you make the LC and issue to the Wells Fargo, apart from this bank is directly carrying to Wells Fargo by courier, they are sending it. Apart from US and everything like that, you will also inform the supplier anyhow that you have given the LC and the bank is going to send everything like that. So the supplier is already basically priorly informed that this is going to be done, this is going to be coming, and the supplier is going to start the preparation of the 110 sugar as per the contract terms which you have negotiated with the supplier and this buyer has negotiated with you. In the same way you negotiate with the supplier for the terms and conditions, and the supplier is going to make the mean like transportation arrangement and packing arrangement and production arrangement, all these things within the stipulated time which you guys have discussed with each other and the buyer has discussed with you. Basically the end buyer's choice, how he is wanting, and the same things in return you provide with the supplier. So the things are in a similar level, a similar way. Now once the supplier has done every arrangement, safely transferred to the ship's port, I mean like to the port, after that if the buyer had sometime if told, most probably it is positive that the buyer says to also get an inspection agency of his choice in the negotiated price or like on a separate price, whatever, which will be written in the LC also. So to get an inspection agency and before loading and after loading to check the product, the sugar, the packing, and take a photograph and video clips and stamp it on the package for each bag or random packages like that, and to check. That is the thing. So because already the LC is there, everything is there, based on the FOB or CIF terms and conditions, based on the ship's condition and the timings, everything. The arrival of this inspection agency, these guys, they will come, the inspectors, they will come, they will check, and they will before loading and after loading, they will, as per the client requirement, they will do this thing. So once that is done, they will check the product and they will stamp and take a video clip, whatever. Once that is done, before loading and after loading you will get the C&F agent if he does know you, or like if he does know the supplier. See, here buyer is asking for an inspection agency to you, okay? You in return will advise the supplier for the inspection agency. So supplier is basically transporting the goods from his place to the Brazilian port, and at the Brazilian port some inspection agency will come as per the requirement of the supplier, as per the end buyer, which is you and the buyer from he. So he says like let Intertech company do the inspection. So you will ask supplier to let Intertech company do the inspection. So Intertech company will do the inspection of the product and before loading, after loading at the Brazilian port. Once done, the supplier, what he will do is he will contact the C&F agent, the ship's mate, captain, and they will take the bill of lading and delivery documents of this thing, if it is FOB and CIF or CIF, whatever. So these documents will be delivered, will be given to this supplier by the C&F agent and the ship's captain with his signature on that one. Once he receives these documents, what this supplier will do is he will go back with these documents to his Wells Fargo Brazilian bank, and apart from this one, he will go to the bank and he will produce these documents, delivery documents. He will say that, sir, he will approach the bank and he will talk to the bank manager who made the LC to him, who advised him about the LC, everything. So he will say that, sir, I have got these documents, I have given delivery. These are the documents. The bank will take the documents. Wells Fargo will take the documents for the delivery document, the bill of lading, everything as per the LC. They will take those documents and they will forward those documents to ICICI Bank, not this bank. They will forward these documents because the LC was issued from this bank. So they will forward the documents to this bank, ICICI India. Once ICICI Bank receives these documents, and apart from they send the documents, delivery documents to ICICI, they will check and forward. They will check and see the documents are as per LC, like bill of lading is there, and inspection agency certificate is there, product pictures are there, and timing of this one is there, and signature of the ship's captain and C&F agent. Everybody is involved in this one, and every document is there. Once they see that, they will rely on this one. And Wells Fargo, what they will do is they will forward those documents. If they are full or enough, everything, they will forward to ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank, once they receive, they will inform, they will forward these documents to the issuing bank, because ICICI Bank is the issuing bank for Wells Fargo. and here for ICICI Bank, issuing bank is the Citibank. So ICICI Bank will forward these same documents to here. ICICI Bank will forward these documents to here. Once the issuing bank receives these documents, they have a time duration of like 5 days, something like that, based on the letter of credit, because letter of credit is nothing but it is LC at site, which is mostly used. LC at site has a 5 days duration. By the time of maturity of 5 days, once the bank receives the LC at site, it means that within 5 days they have to activate the letter of credit to be credited in the seller's account. So they have the 5 days time, and they will check this one, and they will contact their because bank only sees documents. Always remember that. They will see those documents, and they will also, apart from that one, they will contact the buyer. The buyer who is in the New Delhi, the Citibank people, they will, once they receive the documents, they will contact the buyer, basically opener of the first LC. They will contact the buyer and they will ask him that, okay, we have received these documents from ICICI Bank, and you check these documents and let us know. So what happens now? This buyer will see and receive the documents, and he has the delivery documents. Apart from these delivery documents, this guy, which you are the one in the middle guy, you will also call him and tell him that I have sent these documents. Our bank is going to send the documents. Please check the delivery documents, and these are the delivery documents. So the ship already is on the way. If you have on the way to Delhi, if the place of delivery is Delhi, because the buyer is there, he will obviously ask to deliver it in Delhi. So depending on the port in Delhi, if there is a ship's sailing, then you will the buyer will ask to deliver it there, so it can be comfortable for him to make the transportation locally in a transportation via a trailer or whatever in a safe manner. So once these documents are issued, are delivered from ICICI Bank to here, this bank will contact him and provide him the delivery documents. Now the buyer has the delivery documents. Let us say all the delivery documents are there with the buyer. Okay, so these are the delivery documents, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 10, anyhow. Once he has this one, it is nothing but he is going to receive this 100 ton of sugar, and once this is okay, so and he is he is relying on the inspection agency, everything done, because as per his requirement, as per the LC terms and conditions, whatever he asked, everything has been provided in a proper manner. There is no cheating, there is no mistrust, everything is there. Also, inspection agency has done its job, everything. So he has nothing to play and nothing to worry about. So what he will do is now, because of the time duration of the transportation, everything is in place. There is no fault from the trader side, the supplier side, everybody. So everything is in place. So now he will wait for his delivery. Now when he receives the delivery documents, this bank receives, he will order the buyer, ask the buyer if everything is okay, and the buyer, because only sees documents and he also sees documents, there is nothing he is going to play, and he will ask the bank, yeah, everything is okay. So now the bank, because everything is okay, the bank asks him, we are going to activate this letter of credit instrument to the ICICI Bank. So once this 1,08,000, 1 crore 8 lakhs instrument is activated, you will receive the money here. You will receive money for 1 crore 8 lakhs. 1 crore 8 lakhs, because this was the amount that was negotiated with the end buyer. So 1 crore 8 lakhs is here in this bank. What happens now? But you had made the LC for 1 crore for the Wells Fargo. So 8 lakhs will be in your pocket, in this, 8 lakh rupees will be in this account, staying there, and as per the LC that was made for 1 lakh rupees, based on the delivery documents, you will receive this 1 crore will be diverted to the Brazilian supplier account, Brazilian supplier bank account, which is Wells Fargo, which is in Wells Fargo. They will receive the money. You have received the money. He has sent the money. He has received his delivery documents. The delivery is going to be come, and it is as per the everything. So he is happy. Everybody is happy. So now here 8 lakh rupees is there. So this 8 lakh rupees is nothing but the profit of the trader. In this 8 lakh rupees, because of the making charges for the LC over here from ICICI Bank, there will be some kind of charge for the ICICI Bank for the making of the LC and the bank's profit. So apart from that, the remaining is your profit. So they will charge from here, from this 8 lakhs, and you will get your money, and they have got their money. Everybody is happy. So this is the deal. This happens in a. This is the way it happens. So okay, so thanks a lot for this thing. I think the video was like maybe 1 hour, 11 minutes now. So I'll get back to you with other thing and regarding the export import, like what more things are required and what else is there. So this was, I think, a lengthy class, and I hope you all enjoyed this one. And I'm sorry for the font, which is very small. I do not have like a larger board, and apart from that, my webcam is quite small. So I hope you can. I was able to teach in a proper manner. Thanks a lot for this thing. I have closed now, and we'll get back to you again. Thank you. Bye.